The silence of the safe house pressed against Leah's skin like a suffocating blanket. She sat by the window, the city lights twinkling in the distance, pretending she wasn't trapped, pretending Ji-woon wasn't out there turning Seoul into a battlefield. But the guard's words still echoed in her mind. Not all of us serve him. Some serve the ones who want you gone. Her heart pounded as she replayed it over and over. Who could she trust? None of the men outside her door spoke to her. They stood like statues, their guns gleaming under the fluorescent lights. For all she knew, every single one of them was waiting for the perfect moment to hand her over. Leah pulled her knees to her chest, hugging herself. For the first time since she met Ji-woon, she realized how much of her safety depended not on the walls around her, but on him. His presence, his terrifying authority, his obsession with keeping her alive. Without it, she was nothing but prey. Meanwhile, across the city, Ji-woon's men moved like shadows through the rival gang's nightclub. Bottles shattered, bullets flew, and screams filled the neon-soaked air. Ji-woon strode through the chaos like a dark king, his gun steady, his eyes cold. "Leave one alive!" he barked after the final shots rang out. His men dragged a trembling rival boss forward, shoving him to his knees. Ji-woon crouched, gripping the man's jaw hard enough to draw blood. "Who ordered the attack on Leah?" he demanded. The man spat, his face pale with fear. You've gone soft, Ji-woon. All this for one woman? You'll burn your empire down for her." A single gunshot cut off his words. Ji-woon rose without blinking, smoke curling from his pistol. "If burning my empire keeps her safe, then I'll burn it twice." His men exchanged looks, some admiring, others uneasy. They had followed Ji-woon through countless battles, but never had they seen him like this. A man driven not by power, but by love, dangerous, consuming love. Back at the safe house, Leah's door creaked open. She froze. It was the same guard from earlier, the one who had warned her. His eyes darted nervously around the room before he stepped inside, closing the door softly behind him. "You have to leave," he whispered urgently. Leah's throat tightened. "Leave? Where would I even go?" "They'll come for you tonight," he said. "Not Ji-woon's orders. His enemies. They've already bought men inside this house. If you stay, you'll be dead before he returns." Her blood ran cold. She glanced toward the window. The thought of stepping outside without Ji-woon made her dizzy with fear, but staying suddenly felt worse. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. The guard hesitated. Then his voice dropped lower. "Because he saved me once, Ji-woon. And if you matter to him, then you matter to me." Leah's chest tightened. For the first time, she realized how deep Ji-woon's reach went. Even in the darkest corners, his actions bound people to him. "Come," the guard urged, pulling out a hooded jacket and pressing it into her hands. "Hide your face. We don't have much time." Her fingers trembled as she pulled it on, the scent of gun oil clinging to the fabric. Every step toward the door felt like stepping off a cliff. The hallway was dimly lit, the air heavy with tension. Leah kept her head down as the guard led her past the others. One of the men glanced up, suspicion flickering in his eyes. "Where are you taking her?" he asked sharply. "Ji-woon's orders," the guard lied smoothly. "He wants her moved to another location." The man's eyes narrowed. He opened his mouth to protest, but the guard struck first, pulling his gun and firing a single silenced shot. The man crumpled to the floor, blood pooling beneath him. Leah gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Keep moving," the guard hissed, grabbing her arm. Her heart thundered. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs carried her forward, through corridors, past staircases, until finally they reached a side door. The guard shoved it open, the cold night air rushing in. "Go," he said, pushing her toward the shadows. Leah turned, her eyes wide with fear. "What about you?" He shook his head. "I'll hold them off. Just keep running until you see the river. Ji-woon will find you." And before she could argue, he slammed the door shut behind her. Leah stumbled into the night, her breath catching in the icy air. The city stretched before her, vast and terrifying. For the first time since she arrived in Korea, she was alone. truly alone. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow felt like a hand reaching for her. Her heels clicked against the pavement as she broke into a run, pulling the hood tighter over her head. But she wasn't fast enough. From the corner of her eye, she saw them. Black cars pulling up, men in suits spilling out with guns glinting under the streetlights. They had found her. Her heart screamed as her legs pumped harder, carrying her toward the river's edge. The sound of boots followed close behind. "Grab her!" a voice shouted. And in that moment, Leah realized the truth. Jiwoon's war wasn't out there in the city. It was here, breathing down her neck, ready to swallow her whole. The gunfire had barely stopped echoing in Jiwoon's ears when his phone buzzed. He wiped blood from his knuckles and answered, expecting a status report. Instead, a frantic voice shouted, "Boss, Leah is gone." The world tilted. Jiwoon's grip tightened around the phone until it cracked. "What?" His voice was low, dangerous. She left the safe house. The guard who warned her, he helped her escape. But the others are hunting her now. For the first time in years, Jiwoon's control slipped. His glass of whiskey shattered against the wall. "Get every car, every man. Seal the streets. If one of them touches her." His voice dropped into a growl. "I'll bury them alive." Meanwhile, Leah's legs screamed with every step. She sprinted through the narrow streets, her lungs burning. Her heels had broken long ago, leaving her in stockings torn against the concrete. The river glittered faintly ahead, reflecting the city lights. If she could just reach it, maybe she could lose them. But the footsteps behind her grew louder. Shouts filled the night. "There! By the bridge!" Panic clawed at her chest. She ducked into an alley, pressing herself against the wall. The air reeked of cigarettes and garbage. Her body trembled, but she forced herself to stay quiet. For a moment, the footsteps faded. Then silence. She dared to breathe, when a hand clamped over her mouth. Leah's scream died in her throat as she thrashed, only to see the guard who had helped her. His eyes were urgent, his grip firm but not cruel. "This way," he whispered, pulling her deeper into the shadows. She wanted to trust him. She needed to trust him, but fear twisted in her gut. Was he truly helping her, or leading her into another trap? Across the city, Jiwoon's black convoy tore through the streets. His men were on radios tracking every possible lead. His own hands gripped the wheel, his eyes wild with fury. "She's alone," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. "She's scared, and they're hunting her." His lieutenant in the passenger seat swallowed hard. "Boss, what if?" Jiwoon's glare cut him off. "She's alive," he snapped. "Until I see a body, she's alive. And I'll kill anyone who dares think otherwise." Leah stumbled after the guard, her body weak with exhaustion. They reached a deserted warehouse near the river, its doors hanging open. "Hide here," he said. "I'll draw them away." "No!" Leah's voice cracked. "I can't keep running. I can't." Before she could finish, headlights cut through the darkness. Black cars skidded to a stop, doors flying open. Armed men spilled out, their guns gleaming. The guard cursed under his breath. "They found us." Leah's heart stopped. The men advanced, their leader smirking. "The boss will be pleased. Jiwoon's precious little jewel, running right into our hands." Leah's knees weakened. She backed away, her chest heaving. For the first time, she realized she might not survive the night. Then, engines roared. Tires screeched. From the opposite street, a sleek black car swerved into view, slamming to a halt between her and the gunman. The driver's door flew open. Jiwoon stepped out. His eyes locked on Leah, and for the first time, she saw the full storm of his fury and his desperation. His gun was already in his hand, his voice a growl that shook the night. "Touch her," he said, aiming at the rival men, "and I'll erase your entire bloodline." The street fell silent. Leah's tears blurred her vision as her body collapsed against the warehouse wall. Relief and terror tangled inside her, because Jiwoon had come for her, but so had death. The night cracked open with the sound of gunfire. Sparks lit the air as bullets ricocheted off concrete. Leah screamed, covering her ears, but her eyes never left Ji-woon. He moved like a shadow with fire in his veins. One shot, one kill. His body twisted with ruthless precision, every bullet a promise. No one touches her. No one. The rival men returned fire, shouting orders, trying to corner him. But Ji-woon was already among them, his fury turning him into something feral. He snapped a man's neck, grabbed another by the collar, and used his body as a shield before unloading a round into the others. Leah's breath hitched with every shot, every drop of blood. She wanted to look away, but she couldn't, because even in the chaos, even drenched in violence, Ji-woon's eyes kept flicking toward her, as if reminding himself that she was the reason he was still standing. Two men broke off, rushing toward Leah. Her scream tore through the night as they grabbed her arms. Panic surged, her body thrashing. "Let go of me," one sneered, pressing cold steel against her ribs. "You're not going anywhere, princess." Before her cry could leave her throat, Ji-woon's roar split the air. "Don't touch her." His rage exploded into motion. He fired at one, the bullet tearing through his skull. The other tried to drag Leah back, using her as a shield, but Ji-woon didn't hesitate. In a blur, he closed the distance, his knife flashing. One clean slice, and the man fell at Leah's feet. Leah stumbled backward, her body shaking, her hands smeared with blood that wasn't hers. Ji-woon caught her before she fell, his arms wrapped around her, fierce and trembling. For the first time, she felt his body shudder against hers. Not just from rage, but from fear. "I almost lost you," he breathed into her hair. His voice was broken, raw. "Do you understand, Leah? If they had taken you..." His words dissolved into silence, his grip tightening like he could fuse her into his chest. Her lips parted, her tears spilling freely. She should have pushed him away, should have cursed him for dragging her into this nightmare. But instead, she whispered the truth that had been clawing at her for days. "Ji-woon, I was afraid. Not of them. Of you." He froze. His eyes lowered to hers, dark and vulnerable. "Of me," she nodded, her hand trembling as it pressed against his blood-soaked shirt. "You terrify me. You cage me. You burn everything you touch." Her voice broke. "But when I thought I lost you tonight, it felt like losing myself too." His breath caught, his forehead resting against hers. For once, the ruthless Mafia boss looked like a man stripped bare. "You think I don't know I'm dangerous?" he murmured. "But I swear, Leah, the only thing I want to destroy is the world that dares to touch you." Her heart pounded. She should have run. She should have screamed. But when his lips brushed hers, soft at first, almost hesitant, she didn't pull away. The kiss was fire and storm, desperate and hungry. His hand cradled her face while the other pressed her against him, as if he could pour every vow, every fear, every ounce of his obsession into her mouth. Leah gasped against his lips, her fingers curling into his shirt. The taste of smoke and danger clung to him, but beneath it was something terrifyingly real. When they finally broke apart, breathless, he whispered, "You're mine, Leah, not because I caged you, not because I forced you, but because you're the only reason I'm still breathing." Her tears fell silently, but she didn't deny him, not this time. Suddenly, headlights cut across the street. Reinforcements. More black cars, more enemies. Ji-woon pushed her behind him, his gun snapping up again. His jaw tightened, his voice sharp. "This isn't over," he growled, his eyes still burning with the kiss they just shared. "Stay behind me. I'll kill every last one of them before I let them touch you again." Leah's hand clutched the back of his shirt, her heart racing. For the first time, she wasn't sure if she was more afraid of the enemies ahead, or of how much she wanted the man standing in front of her. Gunfire cracked the night open again. Ji-woon stood like a fortress in front of Leah, bullets whizzing past, his body unshakable. His men finally arrived, their black cars screeching to a stop, pouring out like soldiers summoned from the underworld. "Take cover," one shouted, pulling Leah toward a corner of the warehouse wall. But her hands refused to let go of Ji-woon's shirt. "No," she cried, her voice breaking. "I won't leave him." Ji-woon heard her even in the chaos. A smirk, sharp and dangerous, flickered across his face as he ducked behind a car, returning fire. "Stay where I can see you, Leah," he shouted. "I fight better when I know you're watching." Her chest tightened. The words shouldn't have comforted her. They should have terrified her. And yet, they did both. The battlefield turned crimson. Ji-woon's men pushed forward, ruthless and precise, cutting down the rivals one by one. But the enemy was relentless, their reinforcements endless. Explosions rattled the air, the smell of smoke choking the street. Leah's knees trembled as she crouched against the wall, her hands over her ears. She had seen chaos before, in movies, in stories. But this was different. This was real. And the man she was falling for was at the heart of it, painting the night with blood. A rival fighter broke through the chaos, rushing toward her with a blade. Leah froze, her breath catching. She couldn't move, couldn't scream. Ji-woon appeared out of nowhere, his knife sinking into the man's chest before the blade could touch her. Blood sprayed across her arm, hot and metallic. Ji-woon's hand gripped her chin, forcing her eyes to his. "Look at me, Leah," he demanded, his tone fierce. "Don't look at them. Don't look at the blood. Look only at me." Tears blurred her vision. She hated him for dragging her into this hell. She hated him for making her heart beat this way. But when she looked into his burning eyes, the world outside disappeared. The gunfire faded. One by one, the rivals fell silent. The street stank of death. Ji-woon's men dragged bodies into trucks, their faces grim but victorious. Ji-woon turned back to Leah, his chest heaving, his shirt soaked in sweat and blood. For once, he looked less like a mafia king and more like a man clawing his way out of the abyss. "You see now?" he asked, his voice raw. "This is my world. Darkness, violence, blood. And yet, you're still here." Leah swallowed hard, her hands trembling. "You think I can just close my eyes and pretend this isn't real? That I can just ignore what you are?" His jaw tightened, but he stepped closer, his hand brushing her cheek with surprising gentleness. "No, I don't want you to ignore it. I want you to accept it. Accept me." Her lips parted, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. "And if I can't, then I'll keep you anyway." His eyes darkened, his words a vow and a curse all at once. "Even if I have to chain you to me for the rest of my life." Her tears spilled. "You're insane." He leaned in, his lips grazing her ear, his breath hot against her skin. "Maybe, but you're the only thing keeping me alive, Leah. And I'll burn the whole city if that's what it takes to keep you." Later, when the smoke cleared, Ji-woon brought her back to his penthouse. Not the cage-like bedroom from before, but his private space, a place no one else was allowed. The room was lined with glass walls overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. A grand piano sat in the corner, untouched for years. Ji-woon guided her inside, his hand lingering at the small of her back. He looked at her like a man seeing light for the first time. "I was born in blood," he admitted quietly. "I was raised to kill before I was raised to love. But when I saw you, Leah, something changed. I don't know how to be gentle. I don't know how to be good. But I know how to keep you." Leah's breath shook as she turned to face him. Her hand rose, brushing the cut across his cheek. He flinched at her touch, not from pain, but from the weight of her softness against his brutality. "I don't know if I can survive your world," she whispered. His lips curved into a dangerous smile, his fingers curling under her chin. "Then let me teach you how." And before she could reply, his mouth captured hers again. Fiercer, hotter than before. The kiss tasted of smoke and blood, but underneath it was a hunger so deep it made her knees buckle. For the first time, Leah didn't resist. She kissed him back, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. The skyline glittered beneath them, Seoul alive with lights. But inside Ji-woon's penthouse, the air was thick with silence, the kind that comes after fire. Leah stood by the glass wall, her reflection trembling. She could still hear the echoes of gunfire, still smell the iron tang of blood on her hands. Yet her lips burned with the memory of his kiss. "Why me?" she whispered, her back still to him. Why not any of the others? You could have anyone, Ji-woon. Why ruin me? Behind her, he moved like a shadow, slow, deliberate, dangerous. His voice was low, a growl that sent a shiver down her spine. Because the others don't make me forget what I am. Her heart clenched. She turned and froze. Ji-woon was no longer in his bloody shirt. He stood shirtless, his body a canvas of scars and tattoos, raw proof of the violence he carried. Yet his eyes burned with something softer, something terrifying. "Leah," he said, stepping closer. "Every time you look at me, you don't see a monster. And it makes me want to be a man." She shook her head, her voice breaking. "But you are a monster, Ji-woon." He stopped just inches away, his breath brushing her face. His hand rose, cupping her cheek with a gentleness that clashed with his rough exterior. "Then let me be your monster." His lips crashed onto hers before she could protest. The kiss was fire, a war all on its own. She tried to resist, but her body betrayed her. Her fingers gripping his arms, her knees weakening under the force of his hunger. Her mind screamed no. Her heart whispered yes. When he finally pulled back, his forehead pressed against hers. His voice was ragged. "You're mine, Leah. Whether you admit it now or later doesn't matter. Your heart already chose me." Her chest heaved. "And if I hate myself for it? Then I'll kiss you until you forget to hate." But just as the air thickened between them, the phone on the table buzzed violently. Ji-woon's expression darkened. He snatched it up, his jaw tightening as he listened. Leah watched, fear twisting in her stomach. "What is it?" she asked. Ji-woon's eyes flickered with something cold. "They've taken one of my men." Her blood ran cold. "Who?" He looked at her, his voice low and dangerous. "Min-jae, the one who saved you at the warehouse. They're using him to draw me out." Leah's heart dropped. She remembered Min-jae's hand pulling her to safety, his smile brief but kind. "What will you do?" she asked softly, even though she already knew the answer. Ji-woon holstered his gun, his expression unreadable. "What I always do, end it." But before he could walk away, Leah grabbed his arm. Her voice trembled. "Don't go alone." For the first time, Ji-woon hesitated. His eyes searched hers, full of storm and fire. "You're asking me to let you step into my darkness again. Are you ready for what that means?" Leah swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed to run. But her heart had already betrayed her. "I'm already in it," she whispered. That night, as they drove into the heart of danger, Leah sat beside him in silence. Ji-woon's hand rested on the gear shift, his other hand brushing against hers. It wasn't gentle nor tender, but it was an anchor. For the first time, Leah didn't pull away. And somewhere in the shadows, unseen eyes watched them. A rival leader smirked, his voice low and mocking. "Let him bring his little weakness. She'll be the blade we use to cut him down." The night smelled of smoke. Seoul streets glistened with rain, neon lights bleeding across the asphalt like bruises. Leah sat stiffly in Ji-woon's sleek black car, her heart pounding louder than the engine. Her reflection in the window showed fear, but also something else. Desire. Ji-woon's hand tightened around the steering wheel, his jaw sharp as stone. He hadn't spoken in 20 minutes, and yet the silence between them screamed louder than any words. Finally, Leah whispered, "Ji-woon, what if this is a trap?" His eyes flickered to her, dangerous and dark. "It is a trap." Her throat dried. "Then why are we going?" His lips curled into a grim smile, equal parts cruel and beautiful. "Because they dared to touch what's mine. Min-jae. And you." They arrived at an abandoned shipyard. Rusted containers loomed like giants, shadows dancing in the flickering floodlights. Leah's heels clicked against the wet ground as she followed him, her hands trembling. Ji-woon turned, pressing a gun into her hand. Her eyes widened. I don't know how to." "Then point it." He cut her off, his voice low but steady. "Point it and don't hesitate. If anyone touches you, you shoot." Her heart hammered. She wanted to throw it away, but the look in his eyes, cold, desperate, protective, anchored her. "Promise me, Leah," he whispered, stepping closer. His hand brushed her cheek, his thumb stroking her skin. Promise me you'll fight to stay alive. For me. Her lips trembled. I promise. The ambush came fast. Men in black surged from the shadows, guns raised. Ji-woon's own men answered with fire, bullets sparking across metal. The air filled with thunder, smoke, and screams. Leah ducked behind a container, clutching the gun. Her chest heaved as chaos exploded around her. And then, a hand grabbed her from behind. She screamed, twisting wildly. The gun went off, the sound deafening. A man collapsed at her feet, blood spilling across the rain. Her whole body shook. She had killed. Before the horror could sink in, Ji-woon appeared, yanking her into his arms. His lips brushed her ear, his voice raw with pride and desperation. That's it, Leah. That's it. You're stronger than you think. The battle raged. Ji-woon moved like a phantom, each shot precise, each movement lethal. But there were too many. Then she saw him, Min-jae, bound, beaten, dragged into the open. Ji-woon, she cried, pointing. His eyes narrowed, rage boiling. He moved forward, but a gunshot cracked the air. Ji-woon staggered, blood blossoming across his shoulder. Ji-woon! Leah's scream tore through the storm. He gritted his teeth, forcing himself upright. His gun never wavered, even as blood soaked his silk shirt. He fired, each shot fueled by fury, until Min-jae was freed. But the enemy leader stepped forward, smirking, dragging another figure with him. Leah froze. It was a woman, Korean, elegant, deadly, her heels clicking against the wet ground as if she owned it. Her hand gripped a pistol, its barrel pressed to Min-jae's temple. Enough, Ji-woon, she purred, or your loyal dog dies. Ji-woon's eyes turned to steel. His voice was low, venomous. So young. Leah's blood ran cold. This wasn't just an enemy. This was a ghost from his past. So Young smiled coldly, her eyes sliding to Leah. And this is the weakness I've been hearing about. Pretty, isn't she? Her gun shifted, now aimed at Leah. The world slowed. Rain dripped. Leah's chest heaved as Ji-woon froze, caught between fury and fear. Don't, he growled, his voice raw, his finger tight on the trigger. You touch her, and I'll burn this city to the ground. So Young laughed softly. Then watch me. The gun fired. The gunshot split the night. Leah's scream tore through the storm as her body froze, waiting for pain that never came. When she opened her eyes, Ji-woon stood before her, his broad frame shielding her, his shirt blooming red. No! She cried, catching him as he staggered. His blood stained her hands, warm and thick, and her heart shattered. Ji-woon's eyes locked onto hers, fierce even in pain. I told you you're mine. Not even death will change that. Behind them, So Young smirked, raising her gun again. Pathetic. The great Ji-woon, dying for a woman he barely knows. Leah's tears blurred her vision. But something inside her snapped. A fire she didn't know she had. With trembling hands, she raised the gun Ji-woon had given her. You don't know me either, she whispered, her voice breaking. But you're about to. The shot rang out. So Young's smile faded, her body collapsing to the ground. Silence followed, thick, heavy, final. Ji-woon fell against Leah, his breathing ragged. His men rushed in, dragging Min-jae to safety, clearing the field. But Leah saw only him, her monster, her captor, her impossible love. Stay with me, she pleaded, pressing her hands against his wound. Don't you dare leave me, Ji-woon. Not now. Not after everything. His lips curved into a faint smirk, even as blood stained them. So bossy. I like it. Shut up, she sobbed, kissing his forehead. Just stay. Darkness pulled at him, but her voice anchored him, her touch, her tears, her desperate love. Days blurred into nights, hospitals, bandages, shadows of death hovering too close. But Ji-woon lived. When he finally opened his eyes, Leah was there, her head resting on his hand, her wig slightly tilted, her face bare. Beautiful. Real. You stayed, he whispered, his voice weak. Her smile trembled through tears. Of course I stayed. You stole 180 days of my life, Ji-woon. I'm not letting you steal the rest without me. His laugh was hoarse, but warm. Then stay forever. The days that followed were unlike anything Leah imagined. Ji-woon was still a mafia boss, still ruthless, still dangerous. But with her, he softened. He laughed. He loved. Their nights burned with passion. Hot, unrestrained, raw. But their mornings were tender, full of quiet touches and stolen smiles. It wasn't easy. The shadows of his world still lurked. Her family questioned her. The city gossiped. But Leah didn't care, because she had seen the monster, and she had chosen the man. On the 180th day, Ji-woon led her to the rooftop of his tallest tower. The city spread beneath them, endless lights against the dark. He pulled a velvet box from his pocket, his hands trembling, not from fear of death, but fear of her answer. "Leah," he said, his voice breaking, "I don't know how to love gently. I only know how to love with fire. But if you'll let me, I'll spend every day proving that even monsters can be worthy of angels." Leah's breath caught. Her heart pounded. And in that moment, she knew. "Yes," she whispered, tears spilling. "Yes, Ji-woon. 1,000 times yes." He slid the diamond onto her finger, his lips crashing onto hers as the city roared below. And just like that, what began with captivity ended in eternity.
Hello besties! In this story we learned that love can be found in the most unexpected places. Leah never planned to fall in love with a ruthless mafia boss, but their story shows that sometimes fate brings people together in ways we can't control. Besties, love has the power to soften even the hardest hearts, redeem the broken, and give strength to the weak, but it must always be a choice. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, and share.